5 side hustles you can scale with business funding in 2025. And I gotta say, the title itself had me super intrigued.
Yeah, it's got that hook for sure. It dives into something super important for growth, which is business funding.
Yeah, for sure. But before we even get to the Pacific hustles, this source makes a really interesting point about business credit. It's like they're saying, whoa, 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 entrepreneurs, before you go chasing funding, you gotta lay the groundwork.
It really is a great analogy. Think about it like this. You wouldn't loan money to someone with a history of not paying their debts right. Lenders and investors, they see business credit in the same way. It's a measure of how trustworthy you are.
Makes total sense. The article gives a pretty straightforward roadmap for building that business credit, establishing a legal business entity, getting an EIN, opening a business bank account. Then there's the DNS number. What even is that?
Oh, it's basically like a unique ID for your business. Helps credit bureaus keep track of your financial activity. It's kind of like a social security number, but for your company. The article also mentions building relationships with vendors who report to business credit bureaus, and that can actually boost your score significantly.
Right, because consistent on-time payments to those vendors show you're reliable is all about building that solid track record.
Exactly, and that's what's so valuable about it. It's not just about checking boxes, but actually proving to potential investors and lenders that you're a responsible borrower, someone who can manage finance well.
It's like you're saying, it's about building trust over time, and that's got to be super important when you're looking for funding to scale your business.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Now are you ready to dig into those 5 scalable side hustles?
Oh, absolutely. The first one that caught my eye was e-commerce brand building. Seems like the days of just simple drop shipping are kind of fading away. Now it's all about finding your own unique niche in the market.
Yeah, that's a super important distinction. While dropshipping can be great for testing out product ideas, the real potential for scaling comes from building a unique brand. The article mentions platforms like Amazon FBA and Shopify as great tools for finding what works with your target audience and establishing a strong brand presence.
And I love how they share the story of Sarah, who used business funding to scale her skincare brand to 7 figures. It's proof that with the right strategy and resources, huge growth is possible.
Definitely, but it's important to understand how that funding is best used. The article emphasizes strategic investments, stuff like securing larger inventory quantities at better prices, developing custom products that really stand out, running professional marketing campaigns, and even building a team to handle operations and customer service.
So it's not just about having money, but knowing where to put it for maximum impact. And it's about thinking big, like expanding to new marketplaces, maybe even going global.
You got it. Sarah's story shows that the possibilities are pretty amazing.
Okay, on to side hustle number 2. This one was interesting because it offers a different way to approach real estate than directly investing in properties. The article calls it a real estate service business.
And that's a pretty smart strategy, especially if you're not ready to commit a lot of upfront capital. This sort of highlights different services you could offer, things like a property management, real estate photography, or even specializing in renovation services.
I can see how funding in this area could be crucial for getting the right equipment, like professional cameras for photography or specialized tools for renovations. What are some other ways funding can help a service-based business like this scale up?
You're spot on about the equipment, but it goes beyond that. Funding can also be really helpful in building a skilled team, developing your own software for managing clients and projects, and putting effective marketing strategies in place. The article also talks about the importance of systematizing operations, basically creating a blueprint that you can copy as you expand.
So it's like building a well-oiled machine that can handle more clients and projects without sacrificing quality or efficiency.
Exactly. Think of it as creating a model that you can replicate in multiple locations or even franchise.
Okay, that leads perfectly into the next side hustle, starting a digital marketing agency. This one seems perfect for solopreneurs who are looking to scale up with funding.
For sure. The source points out how you can start small, maybe focus on a specific area like social media management, SEO, or paid advertising. And then you can leverage funding to grow your team, invest in advanced tools, and develop your own unique processes.
And I really like their tip about targeting high-ticket industries like healthcare or finance. It makes sense to go after areas where clients have bigger budgets and are willing to invest more in marketing.
Yeah, it's a strategic way to maximize your revenue potential. Now, this next side hustle might surprise you. It's franchise development.
Franchise development, isn't that something only huge companies do?
Not at all. You can actually create your own franchise model. It's pretty fascinating. Imagine taking a successful local business you've already built and making it into a system that others can buy into.
Wow, that takes entrepreneurship to a whole new level. I'm curious, how does funding help with that process? Seems like there'd be a lot involved in setting up a franchise.
You're right. It's a multifaceted process. Funding can be really important for documenting and systematizing your operations, putting together solid training programs for franchisees, creating strong marketing materials, handling all the legal stuff, and even offering support to your first few franchisees.
Sounds like a pretty big undertaking, but the potential payoff could be huge if you create a model that really works and is easy to replicate.
Exactly. It's all about finding that sweet spot, a concept that's proven to be profitable and can be adapted to different markets and locations.
All right, last but not least, let's talk about tech-enabled services. This one really excites me because it feels like the future of service-based businesses. The article mentions things like mobile auto detailing, on-demand home services, and specialized cleaning services, all powered by technology.
It's this awesome blend of traditional services with modern technology. And funding plays a big part in making these concepts a reality. It can help with things like developing custom booking platforms, buying specialized equipment, training service providers to use technology, effectively marketing your services to a tech-savvy audience, and expanding your reach to new areas.
So it sounds like using technology to create a smooth and convenient customer experience is what sets you apart in this area.
Absolutely. It's about making every step easier, from booking and scheduling to payment and feedback, offering a level of service that traditional providers might struggle to match.
This has been so insightful. We've covered a lot, but before we get too excited about all these possibilities, I want to bring up something the article stressed: using business funding wisely. They talk about starting small, proving your concept, keeping overhead low in the beginning, reinvesting profits, consistently setting clear milestones for scaling, and carefully monitoring your unit economics.
Those are all really important principles for sustainable growth. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of expansion, but it's crucial to remember funding is a tool, not a magic wand. You have to use it strategically.
It's like having all the ingredients for a fantastic meal, but without the right recipe and cooking skills, you might end up with a disaster.
That's a great way to put it. It's not just about having the resources, but knowing how to use them effectively to create something truly remarkable.
So what does all this mean for our listener who's ready to take their side hustle to the next level?
It means they have a roadmap for scaling with funding, but that the first step is to build a solid foundation of business credit.
Totally. And before we wrap up part one of this deep dive, I want to leave you with a question to think about. If you were to start building business credit today, what would your first 3 steps be? And which one of these side hustles gets you the most fired up? Take some time to reflect on those questions, and we'll be back with more in part 2.
Wow, we've covered so much already. It's kind of mind-blowing. Talking about business credit, those 5 awesome side hustles, and even how to use funding the right way.
You're right, it's been a lot to take in, but it's all gold. You know what I keep thinking about? That e-commerce brand building side hustle, the whole idea of making your own brand in a super competitive market, it's so cool, especially now with everything being online.
Yeah, there's so much potential there. And Sarah's story, the one from the article, it really shows how powerful strategic funding can be in that space. Imagine taking a product you're really passionate about and then using funding to take it to a whole other level.
Exactly. It's not just selling something, it's creating a whole experience, a vibe, a brand that people connect with.
That's brand building in a nutshell. And funding can fuel so many parts of it, developing amazing products, crafting marketing that really hits home, reaching the right people. It's all connected.
And then there's scaling beyond your first market, going to new platforms, maybe even global. That's got to be exciting.
For sure. But let's not forget about the other side hustles we talked about. Remember the real estate service business model? That one was super smart. A great way to get into real estate without needing a ton of money up front.
Right. It's way easier to get started than buying properties yourself, and there are so many different services you can offer.
Exactly. You could become a property manager, be the person landlords go to when they want to simplify things, or you could do real estate photography, taking those amazing pictures that make properties really pop online. And then there are renovation services, totally transforming spaces and adding real value.
And the cool thing is, with the right systems, it's super scalable.
Totally, funding can help you build a team, buy specialized equipment, and create those streamlined processes that let you handle more clients and projects.
All right, let's switch gears a bit and talk about the digital marketing agency model. I bet this one's a big draw for anyone who loves marketing and all things digital.
It's a fantastic way to use your skills and create a business that make a real difference for other businesses. And the best part is you can start small, zero in on a niche you're really passionate about.
Right, like focusing on social media marketing, SEO, or paid advertising. The article even suggested targeting industries with bigger budgets like healthcare or finance.
Smart move, right? Those clients usually have more to spend and are ready to invest in top-notch marketing services.
And as your agency gets bigger, funding can help you grow your team, get this cutting-edge tools, and offer a wider range of services.
Exactly. It's about building a whole package of solutions that adapt to what your clients need.
You know, I gotta admit, I was surprised when they included franchise development as a side hustle. It felt like something way beyond what most entrepreneurs could do.
I get that. But the truth is, you don't have to be a giant company to build a franchise. The article talked about this cool idea of taking a successful local business and turning it into something that others can buy into.
It's like sharing your success while growing your brand at the same time.
Exactly. And funding can really help with that. Imagine having the resources to document everything you do, create amazing training programs for franchisees, develop strong marketing materials, handle all the legal stuff, and even provide support to your first franchisees to help them succeed.
Sounds like a lot of work, but the payoff could be huge if you build a model that really works and is easy for others to copy.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that perfect balance, a concept that makes money and can be adapted to different places.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about those tech-enabled services. This is where things get really interesting. It's like the future of service-based businesses.
I agree. It's amazing to see how technology is changing traditional services, making things more efficient, convenient, and creating happier customers.
The examples in the article, mobile auto detailer, on-demand home services, specialized cleaning services, they all show a future where technology helps entrepreneurs offer better services.
And funding is a key part of making that happen. Imagine being able to build your own booking platform to make things super easy for your clients, or getting specialized equipment that makes your services even better.
And then there's training your people to use technology, effectively marketing your tech-enabled services to the right people and expanding your reach.
It's about creating a smooth, connected system that uses technology at every step, all to give customers a truly awesome experience.
It's inspiring to see how entrepreneurs are using technology not just to grow their businesses, but to make the whole customer experience so much better.
It really shows the power of innovation and what people can achieve.
With all this talk about scaling and growth, I think it's super important to remember what the article said about using business funding wisely. It's worth repeating.
You're so right. It's easy to get caught up in dreams of expansion, but remember, funding is a tool, not a magic fix.
It's like having a super fast car. If you don't know how to drive it, you're more likely to crash than reach your destination.
Love that analogy. It's not just about having the resources, but about using them the right way and responsibly.
The article highlighted some key things: starting small, proving your idea works, keeping costs down in the beginning, reinvesting profits regularly, setting clear goals for scaling, and keeping a close eye on your unit economics.
Those are the golden rules for sustainable growth. Building a business that can grow and is financially strong.
It's about setting yourself up for long-term success, not just chasing quick wins.
Exactly. Now, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to go back to something we mentioned earlier, passion and finding the right fit when choosing a side hustle.
You're right, it's so important. It's easy to focus on making money or scaling up, but the best businesses come from passion.
Passion is what keeps you going when things get tough. It helps you overcome challenges and stay true to your vision.
So when you're thinking about these side hustles, ask yourself, what really gets me excited? What am I good at? Where can I make a real difference?
Those are the questions that'll guide you to a business that's not only scalable, but also really fulfilling.
I love that. It's about building something that matches your values, your interests, and what you want to achieve.
It's about building a business where you can succeed personally and professionally.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up part 2 of our deep dive. We've covered a lot, but there's still so much more to explore. Join us in part 3, where we'll dig deeper into the details of scaling, funding, and creating a business that truly aligns with your dreams.
Welcome back for round 3 of our deep dive. It feels like we've only just scratched the surface of what's possible with these side hustles.
You're right, we've explored a lot of great ideas, but there's always more to discover when it comes to building a business that really takes off.
Totally. One thing that's really stuck with me is that funding can be a huge help, but it's not the only way to succeed.
Couldn't agree more. In fact, one of the best skills an entrepreneur can have is the ability to bootstrap their business, especially in those early stages.
You know what? That's a great point. We've talked so much about getting funding, but what about using your own resources, your own creativity to get things moving? That's something people often forget about when they're rushing to get investors. Bootstrapping, it makes you resourceful, makes you focus on what's important. You really got to validate your idea before you even think about outside money.
It's like a trial by fire. It makes you get creative, find new solutions, prove that your business idea actually works before going all in on funding.
Exactly. And there are some serious perks to doing it that way. First off, you stay in complete control of your business. You don't have to answer to investors or lenders. You're free to make decisions that fit your vision.
And there's just something so awesome about building something from scratch, using your own hard work and smarts.
For sure. It gives you a feeling of ownership of pride that can be a huge motivator, especially in the beginning when things are usually tough.
But of course, bootstrapping has its own set of challenges. I imagine it can be really tough if you don't have enough money to put into things like marketing inventory or hiring people.
That's definitely something to consider. It's a balancing act, for sure. You have to be really smart about where you use your limited resources.
It forces you to decide what's most important, focus on the core parts of your business, make every dollar count.
Exactly. And it might mean you have to wear a lot of hats, do things yourself that you might normally pay someone else to do. It's not always pretty, but it can be super rewarding.
It really shows what you're made of as an entrepreneur. And you know what? Even those businesses that eventually get tons of funding, they often start small too. They bootstrap their way to the point where they're ready for investors.
Absolutely. It's almost like a tradition for a lot of successful entrepreneurs, and it can teach you so much about being resourceful, being tough, and staying focused on what really matters.
So while you're looking at these side hustle ideas, think about the power of bootstrapping. It might not be the right move for every business, but it's a good tool to have in your toolbox.
Couldn't agree more. And remember, there's nothing wrong with starting small, testing your ideas, building something you're proud of with what you already have.
I like that. It's about enjoying the process, the ups and downs, the wins, and creating something you truly believe in.
Exactly. And never underestimate the power of passion, of sticking with it, and being open to learning and adapting as you go.
It feels like we've come full circle with this deep dive. We started by talking about how amazing it is to scale up with funding. And now we're wrapping up by remembering that sometimes the biggest growth comes from within.
It's kind of funny how that works. And it shows you what entrepreneurship is all about, seeing opportunities where others see roadblocks, creating something out of nothing, building a business that not only makes money, but also reflects who you are and what you want to achieve.
Well said. Time to wrap up our deep dive. We've been through a lot, building business credit, exploring 5 cool side hustles, and even looking at the power of bootstrapping.
It's been a wild ride. I hope everyone listening feels inspired and ready to take action, to explore those side hustle ideas, to build something amazing, to write their own success stories.
I second that. And remember, the more you know, the more you can do. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep that entrepreneurial spirit alive.
Until next time, happy hustling.